Hello and happy Tuesday. I am coming to you from my studio. Oftentimes when you've been seeing my recent videos, you have been seeing me in my office. So today I wanted to hang out with you in my studio and have a cup of tea with you here and let you get a little sneak peek of it. And sometime I'll have to do a tour of it for you. But as you see over here, this is Granny Birdie. I had that as one of my photography prints, or one of my photos that I turned into a canvas and ordered it as a canvas, and that is one of my favorite photos because that she just perched on the little one of the pieces of furniture out on the patio when we were living in Florida, and was just so pretty. And I happened to turn around one day in the kitchen and just catch her perched there like she was waiting for a photo shoot, and I thought she was so precious and pretty. And it's just one of my favorite photos because if you look at it, you can really tell her beak is so beautiful and vibrant, and then the azaleas were blooming in the background, and it just it's just such a beautiful bokeh effect. It's kind of a little bit blurred and really pretty. So and then those are some angels and girls back there. That's one of my angels I recently did, playing around with some watercolor and things. And that is washi tape. You can see that cute little thing that's hanging on, coming out of the top of my head. And so lots of sketchbooks and painting books and journals and all kinds of things. So I'll definitely be up here some more, and we'll soon be showing you some painting techniques and just some of my journals and some of the things that I'm doing with some of my artwork and prints and photography and things. So, but today I'm coming to you with a Cuppa Positivity from Ann Margaret. And if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, then you know the other day I said I was starting that back up. That is something that I started maybe, I don't know, maybe like 2 years or so ago. I guess it would probably have been that long, if not longer. But all along, and a couple of times a week or 3 times a week, and sometimes I was on a roll and was doing it every day. I would post a Cuppa Positivity with Ann Margaret, and it might be a Bible verse or a quote that I really like, or just a thought from my heart, or maybe a photo that I wanted to share with you, and I just, plopped in something positive with it. So the whole purpose of it is for you just to feel like I have just, sat down at the kitchen table with you for a few minutes during that day, and we were having a cup of tea, and I just gave you a dose of positivity. Is what I hope it will come across to you as and feel like for you. Just a dose of sunshine and a dose of joy, a dose of Kaylee joy this year as we are celebrating spreading Kaylee joy in 2016. So I hope that's what it'll be for you, and sometimes it'll be a video. And so today I thought I would do that. I would just do a video for you, and I might do, it'll be, at least 2 times a week I'll do a post, or that Cuppa Positivity with Ann Margaret, or it might be 3 times a week. Who knows? Won't be every single day, but at least 2 to 3 times a week. So I hope you'll look forward to that, and it'll just add a little dose of positivity for your day. So this morning I was thinking about that as I was drying my hair. Ideas come to you when you're just doing random things like that. I was thinking about, wow, I really need to drink more water. During the winter time, I just do not seem, my water intake is not what I would really like for it to be. And I'm, more used to grabbing my cappuccino cooler, or I think, I'd like a warm cup of tea and put some kind of yummy flavoring in it or something. And that's kind of what is more appealing to me during the winter months, of course, because it's chilly and it's cold and we've had snow. And I'm just not as apt to think about and want to drink water. So I'm really good about it in spring and summertime. I love it. I always have a glass with me, and I love to add lemon or lime or orange slices to it. So that's really easy for me. But during the wintertime, I kind of have to push myself a little bit more and encourage myself, okay, you need to be taking in, your water, because it is very easy for people to get dehydrated, and oftentimes we don't realize what that is. Now, sometimes I deal with migraine headaches, what I call my kind of migraine headache, and it's on the left side, and it will start in the morning and it's going to go the entire day. I don't care what I take, what I do, how many times I take something throughout the day. It's going to go till 8 or 9 o'clock at night at least, and it just happens. And every now and then I get them. I'm very thankful that I don't have them every day or 2 or 3 times a week or something. So, but anyway, that just happens sometimes. And sometimes, though, there'll be a different kind of headache that I'll get, and if it's like kind of on the top of my head where I feel it. And John and I have talked a lot about this. Typically, he'll say, haven't really been seeing you drink much water. You're probably a little bit dehydrated. And upon doing some research and things, that's usually where that headache is stemming from. So I encourage you to think about sometimes if you're kind of dragging, you're feeling low, kind of fatigued, kind of got this dull, headache maybe. just, not having as much energy or something. Think about, are you really hydrating yourself as much as you need to be? So I know that some days I'm not doing that. And I was thinking, oh, well, what could I do to entice myself? I like little encouragers and little positive things to make me, to help me sometimes, to remember to do something or to want to do it more. And so I thought, oh, well, if I was sipping my water out of a cup that was cute, then that would probably make me want to have more water during the day. So here comes the cute mug, that the little cup that you probably saw me post on Facebook one day. I got it at Anthropology, and it made me think of Kaylee, because on the inside of it, if you can see, it is purple. That's her favorite color, and has polka dots, and so that is just so cute and whimsical, and it says "Do Your Best" on it, which is just adorable. I love that. It looks like it's doodled and has this cute handle on it. I really like that. So when I saw that in Anthropology that day, I said, oh, I gotta have this. It just makes me think of her. And they did have one that had aqua on the inside, which is one of my favorite colors. But I thought, you know what? I've got things with that color on it, and I don't really, I like purple, but, and I like it because it reminds me of her. And I thought she would love that mug. She would look at me and say, that cup, she would say, girl, you got to get that. Now, you just need that cup. So I thought, yes, I will get that. It made me think, happy thoughts about her. So this morning I was thinking about it, and I said, oh my goodness, I should put my water in that cup, and I would have to fill it up quite a few times, to be drinking enough water every day. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. I've got this cup of water going, and I'm going to drink it. I'm going to fill it up throughout the day, and then that sometimes also can be a good thing for me, so I don't stay too long standing at one of my desks that I work at, or sitting and painting, or using the computer too much. So it'll kind of, help me to remember, boom, 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 get up, go take a walk, go downstairs, up and down. I've got 4 floors up and down. I can go and get moving, and go get another cup of water and fill it up. And so, yeah, that could be a little bit frustrating, but who cares? Because it's in this cute cup, it's going to make me do it. So it kind of led me into this thought of thinking about what we fill ourselves up with. And I am not a person, I do not drink soft drinks like Coke and all that kind of stuff. Every once in a blue moon, I might crave a Coke, but that is so rare. I just don't like all the sugar, and I'm not into drinks like that, really haven't ever been. So typically, you will find me drinking water, and I have my cappuccino cooler twice a day. That's my little treat, and that's mostly or smoothies. I like my smoothies. So anyway, so I got to thinking about, what do we fill ourselves up with? And of course, when we're talking about in physical terms, we want to be putting the right kind of stuff in our bodies. I am a very big advocate about that we, you don't want to put junk in our bodies, and there's so much sugar in everything. And I really, as I've gotten older, I have noticed that sugar really makes me feel bad. I'm a firm believer, and I'm kind of watching this a little bit closely, really think it can make my sciatica flare up more, for me to feel the effects of that more so, or issue that I deal with my shoulder sometimes. So I'm really, I'm big about thinking about what we are putting into our bodies, because we want our bodies to function. We want to feel good every day when we get up, and we want to have energy, and we want to feel that we can go up and down the stairs and go for walks outside and things like that. And if we're not putting the right stuff in us, well, it's kind of hard for our bodies to work that way. And upon thinking about this water thing, it started the thought process in my mind of, what are we filling our hearts and souls with? And oftentimes I've had people talk to me or write to me, or just in conversations with friends or something, or with people, and I would hear these conversations, these words coming out of people's mouths saying, oh, there's so much negativity in my Facebook feed. Oh, my Facebook feed is just filled with all this negativity. And oh my gosh, did you see this? And oh, did you see that awful thing that happened? And oh my goodness, oh, the news, did you hear about that? And did you see this? And oh, that was so awful. And oh, I've got these friends, and it's just all they ever talk about is just, it's all this bad stuff. And you think about, wait a second. You see, we have a choice about these things. We have a choice, just like with our food and the things that we put into our body. We have a choice about the things that we absorb and we put into our minds, our hearts, and our souls. What are we letting fill our hearts and our souls? And if we put in all this negativity and all these bad things and even sad things, There's a point that things we have to deal with sadness and anger and upset and frustration. We have to deal with those feelings. But to dwell in them and to stay in them and then just to ruminate over them over and over, it can be emotionally and physically challenging for our bodies and our minds, and it can cause a lot of things. Emotional stress and upset, it is proven, there's research out there, and I've read a lot of books about it, you can too, but I can tell you from things that I've read and doctors I've spoken with, there is proven research that stress and tension and emotional upset can be triggers for arthritis, of course, tension in our muscles, and there are a lot of that are true physical ailments that you could go to the doctor and actually get this diagnosis of something. And once you start, maybe if you're going through a really difficult time, or you're struggling with something, or something, work's got you really stressed out and you can feel it all in your muscles and stuff, there are ways that we can help ourselves by what we are thinking about and what we are processing in our minds over and over, and also the tools that we have to try to cope and deal with these stressors in our lives. And it's just interesting to me, to read sometimes about how some things, and I know this to be so true for me, like if I get upset or feel a lot of tension or stress or something, it's typically going to show up in my shoulders and in my neck. My neck will get really stiff feeling, and my shoulders are really achy, and then I've had a couple of injuries to my right hand, and so I end up having, it's like it kind of awakens the pain, if there's some arthritis possibly, I hate to say that, in a couple of, 2 spots where I've had a couple of injuries that were just kind of freak accidents with a door and then a suitcase falling on my hand. So I can feel the tension flare up in my body when I'm actually dealing with something emotional like that. And so over the years, I have tried to really become conscious about what I am ingesting mentally and emotionally. And sometimes the things that when we talk about, like, oh, my Facebook has got all this negative stuff on it, blah, 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 well, we don't have to keep looking at it. And we don't have to keep scrolling through all of that. And we don't have to click on every story about this awful event that happened or this crisis that happened somewhere else or whatever. And I'm not saying by any means to not stay up to date on the news or what's going on. And this is different for everybody. For some people, they're not affected by any of this. But I do think that for the most part, most people typically, even without realizing it sometimes, things that we take in and absorb emotionally, mentally, these things are affecting us. And it can change your outlook on your day. It can change, you could be on the way and you hear something on the radio or whatever, you're on your way to work and you were in a good mood, and then before you know it, you heard something and that made you think something else, and that triggered another thought, and then you're feeling frustrated and you're just agitated, and you get to work and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, so what a great day this is. Instead, if we have something positive that we fuel ourselves with, and I believe doing this at the first part of every day is such a wonderful thing to do, but it's not always possible. There are times when maybe I have appointments in the mornings, or maybe calls or conference calls or different things like that that doesn't happen. And I could always structure my day differently when I know those things are going to be taking place. I could get up earlier or kind of plan a little bit better. So I'm always working on that with myself. How can I do this? How can I work this better so that I stay on top of this? Because I know when I'm not doing the inspirational work that I need to do for myself, I feel it. The sadness is more difficult for me to cope with. Frustrations are more difficult for me to deal with. I become stressed easier. I feel tension and all inside of me and in my muscles and things, and my patience is not as where it should be. So all of these things are affected. And it really, when you think about what are we filling ourselves up with? So I encourage you, if you feel frustrated and you feel a lot of tension in your body and you just feel down and you feel sad about things, or you just feel kind of off key about stuff or something, maybe take a step back and look at on a daily basis. Don't look at it in the big part at first. Don't look at a whole week or a whole month, what's been going on or something. Just look at it maybe yesterday or the day before. What did I ingest that day? What did I take in? What did I fill my cup with? Was it the good stuff? Was it chatting with friends that are encouraging and uplifting to you? And again, don't get me wrong, we can't always be uplifting and encouraging, because let me tell you, as much as I will talk to you about positivity and inspiration and seeking joy and choosing joy and all those kinds of things, I do that. I share that with you in hopes that maybe it will help you, because I've had a lot of people talk with me, and family, friends, we talk, and we're all dealing with stuff like that. We all have things going on in our lives where, some days it's just harder than others to kind of feel happier and find the joy. And other days, maybe it's easier, run into somebody being nice. There was a lady I saw yesterday, and I told John, I said, I'm telling you, that lady did not want to see anybody. She was going to take her trash can in, and she darted out really fast, and I thought, I was going to speak to her and say hi, and she kind of looked at me, and she darted back up her steps, and I thought, oh my goodness, like I didn't even have a minute to say anything to her, but it was just, I couldn't help but kind of laugh, because I thought, she absolutely did not want to talk to anybody, and and that's okay. Maybe she was having a bad day or whatever, that's fine. Sometimes, believe it or not, I don't want to talk to anybody. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our personalities and our little quirks and those kinds of things. And so some days, yeah. And especially with this journey of grief that, I'm trying to navigate over the loss of our precious Kaylee, there are some days where, I'll just be honest with you, I don't have it in me. I feel tired, and I feel weak, and I just feel sad. But you know what? I realized a long time ago when I had an injury with one of my hands, and I could not do my computer work and my painting and all, and I was so frustrated about it. And John said to me, he said, Ann Margaret, I think your body's trying to tell you something. I think you need to rest. And I was like, I don't want to rest. I got all the stuff I want to do. I want to be doing this and that. And he said, I know you do, but your body right now needs rest. And in order for it to heal like it needs rest. And then there are certain scriptures and things that remind us of that, of how God tells us it's okay to need rest. Because when we need rest, we draw on His strength even more. And we realize that's where our true strength comes from. And I know that is the truth. And so I try now, if I'm having a day like that, I say, God, you're probably trying to tell me something, right? I kind of just need to kind of relax a little bit more today. Kind of chill out. Tomorrow I can get back and do more or pick up where I've left off. But today, maybe I need to read more of, do more of my Bible journaling, or read some of my inspirational books, or some of the notes that I have, or different things like that. I need to get back into that. So I promise you, I'm not always positivity, unicorns dancing, roses blooming. Absolutely not. Okay? I'm going to be truthful with you and tell you that yes, I have my tough days too. And I have some of them are harder than others. And sometimes it's not just a day. It's 2 days, or it's a week, or maybe it's 2 weeks. I just kind of feel out of it and can't seem to, get my mojo going or whatever. So you're not alone in feeling like that. We're all human, and that happens to all of us. But typically when I feel that way, it's a reminder for me. It's kind of like this little nudge from God saying, hey, you probably need a little bit more quiet time with me. You probably need to visit a little extra. You need to come to me. You need to rest. You need to make sure that you're filling your cup with the right stuff. And sometimes, I'll tell you another secret. I step back and I look at the day before or 2 days before, and I think, you know what? I wasn't really putting so much of the good stuff in my cup that day. I let all these outside things come in. Maybe I read too much on Facebook, and I saw too many negative things, or too many negative stories, or maybe the news happened to be on. I'm not one to really watch the news that much, because it's just, I won't go there, okay? Yes, I like to keep up with world events and that kind of thing, but anyway. But maybe the news was on in the background and I heard something. And then, or maybe I was going to rinse my paintbrushes or whatever, and then I just stopped for a minute just to hear the rest of the story, and and then I'm thinking about it, and whatever awful thing happened, and then something else happens, and then maybe, you get a call from somebody, and oh, there's a bunch of stuff that, they're telling you about. We have choices. We can make the choice. We can set boundaries for ourselves, for other people. We can't change other people, but we can change ourselves. And it's okay to say, I'm not available right now. Or you know what? I'm kind of having a tough time today and I can't talk about that right now. Or maybe, if your husband's really big into the news and there's all this stuff going on, you say, you know what? I'm going to go and do some of my reading or something. And if you want to keep watching that, then, go right ahead. And John is not like that. He wants the TV off a lot of the times. So it's sometimes these things come about, and it's so good to kind of step back, even if we're not feeling kind of frustrated or whatever, just routinely to take a check and say, what am I filling my cup up with? Am I filling my cup up with that yummy good stuff that makes me feel all warm and alive inside, and it's got a good flavor to it? Or am I filling my cup up with stuff that leaves a bad taste in my mouth and kind of makes me feel run down? It makes me feel frustrated or tense. What am I filling my cup up with? So let's fill our cups up. So what is this stuff that we can fill our cups up with? Well, oh my goodness, there's just this it's so vast. There's all this goodness out there. Of course, number one, the Bible. We can go to that and we can find verses that are filled with promises and reassurance and encouragement and belief in you, reminders of how special you are and that you have gifts and that you have this beautiful light that you need to be letting shine. There's wonderful inspirational books that you can have on your Kindle, on your iPad, on your Kindle app on your iPad. That's where I love to read them. By your bedside table. So maybe it's the first thing that you fuel yourself with in the morning, and maybe it's the last thing you fuel yourself with before you go to bed. Prayer, I believe, is a beautiful thing. Always comforts me and helps me to feel like, I've had a chat with Jesus. And I'm going to be showing you something special that I'm working on that you might like to create for yourself, and to really make that time unique and special, and to kind of honor that time, that inspirational time that I like to have, my quiet time of, my prayers and talking with God, and just filling my cup up with the good stuff, with inspirational readings and quotes and verses and scripture messages from some of my favorite authors and things like that. So those are just the beginnings of things. And also, if you've got people in your life that are bringing you down, that are filled with negativity, well, sometimes you have to look at and see, is this maybe somebody that they're reaching out to me, they need somebody to talk to or to vent to? And so you kind of have to assess those things and see how you can be, you can kind of, help in that situation, or either help them to realize that there is help for them, and maybe, they might need somebody to talk to, or, but then it's also this thing of, sometimes people feel very obligated that they have to. Maybe they've been friends with somebody for 20 years and that person has always been negative. And they think, well, that's just how they are and I have to. But every time I'm around them, I come back from being with them and feel really down and just frustrated. You don't have to do that. By golly, you can put up boundaries. And maybe you just talk to them on the phone every now and then. Or maybe you only are around them, once in a blue moon. Or maybe sometimes we start spilling out the positivity and the encouragement and the good stuff, because we can't change other people, but we can change ourselves. And I love, one of the quotes that says, when we change ourselves, that's when we begin to see the world around us change. And I think it's for two reasons. Because A, we're seeing it with different eyes, we're seeing it through different lenses. And the other thing is that as people begin to see you change, oftentimes they begin to make changes. Sometimes they might not, and they might go on about their business and go on, another direction, another way, and that's okay. But sometimes you can be that modeling agent. You can be that person that sets the tone, that starts to make the change in yourself. And when others start to see it, they begin to make their own changes. But it's all about you have the ability. You are worth it to stop and think about, what are you filling your cup up with? Are you filling it up with cheap coffee that doesn't taste good and it's really watery and it doesn't have any substance to it, and there's no flavoring in it, and there's no substance to it, and there's no goodness in it, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, tastes awful? Or are you filling your cup up with the good stuff? Those special edition flavors that only come out at particular seasons. I love that pumpkin spice one they do in the fall. I love that. Are you filling it up with the special flavors, with the special ingredients? Are you filling it up with inspiration? Because your heart and your soul needs that. And when you fill your heart and soul up with this kind of stuff on a daily basis, you may have 5 minutes in the morning. Maybe meditation is one way that you fill yourself up, that your heart and soul gets replenished and renewed each day. Maybe you do an 8-minute meditation, or maybe you have 10 minutes for reading Jesus Calling. Any of those little things like that, that is a dose of goodness that's going to be added to your cup. And you can but what happens is, when we keep sipping from it, then it gets low and we got to fill it up. Like, remember when I was talking about I'm going to have to run down the stairs and fill my cup up again, add a little bit more orange in there or lemon or whatever. So I got to keep filling it up. So that's how it works. Just like we fill our cup up so we can, replenish our water in our body and keep ourselves hydrated, we got to stay hydrated with the good stuff. So as we sip from the cup, we keep filling it up. And guess what that means? There's always a dose of goodness in here. There's always a dose of joy in here. So on those days when you really need it and you're feeling worse or you're feeling low, or maybe you kind of got caught a cold or something like that and you kind of need something, because you've been doing it on a regular basis, because daily you make sure that you're adding, even if it's 5 minutes, 8 minutes, that you're adding a little dose of the good stuff into your cup on a daily basis. It keeps replenishing it. And so you're always going to have those tools and that goodness in there to go to and to pull from. Because there are going to be days sometimes when we need more. We're going to take a much larger sip than we normally do, and several of them. So we got to keep replenishing it. And I'll tell you something. Some days I do. Like I was saying earlier, I get busy. I have appointments or calls or something like that. And before I know it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I had to do that at 8 o'clock this morning or whatever, and I didn't have my time with Jesus, and I didn't have my inspirational time. And you know why I'm thinking that? Is because I'm feeling cranky. I am feeling like I'm struggling. The painting's not going just right, or I can't really get my tone set for what I want to do, or I'm just kind of all over the place, and I think, have mercy. I did not do my inspirational time. And this is something I truly believe in. I know it works for me. I know it helps me to be a better person, a better wife, a better friend, a better daughter, a better me, just for me. And so, well, what in the world was I thinking? How did that happen? But see, it happens for everybody. Life happens, and we all get busy, and there's things that come up, and something interferes with our schedule for the day, and it gets thrown off course. But that's okay. Plug it in at 3 o'clock. Or maybe when the kids take a nap, or maybe when they're doing their studying, or they're having to do their reading. You could do yours. Or maybe at night when everybody's gone to bed. You save yourself 30 minutes. Whatever it is, I encourage you to fill your cup up with the good stuff. Cup of joy. It's an awesome thing to have, I'm telling you. And I encourage you, be sipping on your water. Keep yourself hydrated this winter. And if you need, a cute cup or something, you can always find them at Anthropology. But anyway, and if they're, I'll try to share, I'll share some of my favorite things with you. Holly Girth is a Christian author that I absolutely love. I think she's precious. And anytime I read her messages or her blog, and I think I have every one of her books. So I recommend them all. I can assure you of that. So if you need a dose of inspiration, there you go. And I will try to fill your cups up a little bit all along with a dose of the good stuff. So, Cuppa Positivity, we're going to have that going on every week. We're going to be in the studio and looking at some fun journals and seeing some of my art techniques and just talking about, how can we figure out to add creativity to our day? Maybe there are things you want to explore. You'd like to do something like that, or maybe get into some painting. And there are fun, easy ways to do that where you can just play around with it and experiment it. And I think it'll brighten up your day and add a little dose of sunshine to it. So I hope you're having a good week. And they say that we are supposed to get snow, but mostly it's just been a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow today. Cooper and I are still looking for spring, or perhaps we should say we are longing for it. So anyway, I thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for spreading Kaylee joy. This has been such an exciting past few days to see all of these adorable photos that y'all are sharing with your Kaylee joy on, and just spreading it on campuses and at schools and in your workplace and at home with your families. And I hope that you're holding on to some of that Kaylee joy for yourself, and then you're going out and you're sharing it with others with a smile and a kind word and compassion. So I'm just so excited that y'all are excited about Kaylee joy, and I love hearing about it. Keep sharing your photos. And if you have things that you run into or somebody and you really felt Kaylee joy was just blooming in that moment or something, then send it to me. Tell me about that. So I might feature you on my blog or on a Facebook post or something. So I thank you so much for helping to spread her light and her love, and to be spreading this joy to other people, because you are making a difference in somebody's day. Thank you so much for doing that and for being here with me and hanging out. And we are going to have more Cuppa Positivities with Ann Margaret, and we're going to be having some tea times, and we might need a batch of scones or something. I mean, seriously, we might. Lemon curd, we might need to have that for our tea time. So thanks for coming and hanging out with me and visiting my blog. I appreciate all your special comments about the last post I did and the artwork, and I'm really excited to share with you about this new journaling community I'm in. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you soon.